And there's a turkey over there. Look at that. Turkey. It's not talking back to me.
Welcome again. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Nope. Take 8.
Hey, how you doing, everybody? My name is JoJo. Gosh, what is wrong with me? All right, scratch that. Take 9. Good evening, everyone. It's not evening. It's the afternoon.
Welcome, everyone. My name is Aaron. In case we've not met before, I am the Student Ministries Director here at Troy campus. And I just want to welcome you to, I think, week 6 of the quarantine life. And man, it's not the same. We miss being together with all of our breakaway and all of our Edge fam, but we are going to make the best of it. And so each week we're going to bring you content in hopes to encourage each and every one of us to engage in our small groups and in our community and talk about the topic at hand. And so this week, to get the ball rolling, I've asked Thaddeus, our breakaway guy, to kind of kick things off, and he's going to launch us into a conversation about family. So Thaddeus, take it away.
Hey everyone, it is Thaddeus. Hey, when I was growing up, I was in middle school, and I used to always get my sister to play sports with me, and the way I would do that is I would bribe her saying that I would play Barbies with her if she would come and play sports with me, and I never ultimately played Barbies with her. But she always played sports with me, and so that was great. So one time we were playing baseball in the backyard, and she did something that frustrated me. And so I'm not proud of this, but I put a little extra mustard on the return throw. And it missed her glove, and it cracked her in the head, and it sounded like a ball had been smoked against a wooden fence.
Back in '82, I used to be able to throw a pigskin a quarter mile.
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious. Watch this.
What the heck are you doing?
That's what I'm talking about.
I better go.
That was how loud this crack was. And again, I'm not proud of it. That was not my greatest moment growing up, but it was a moment of great tension and great drama. And there's a story in the book of Genesis about the life of a guy named Joseph. And we are going to be looking at Joseph for the next couple weeks. We had said we were going to do Fruit of the Spirit, and we are going to get there, but we just decided that we were going to shift gears a little bit and focus on the life of Joseph for the coming weeks. Now, Joseph had been given these really cool dreams by God that he was going to elevate him to this place of great leadership and influence. But the problem was Joseph was the youngest of 12 brothers, and he started to tell all of his brothers and tell all of his family that, hey, one day I'm going to be the boss over you. I'm going to rule over you. And they didn't take too kindly to that, especially the brothers. And so the brothers, they kind of conspired together. They ganged up on Joseph. They beat him up. They threw him in a pit, and they're like, let's kill him. And they're like, no, that's way too aggressive. So they said, let's just sell him into slavery. And if you know the rest of the story, you know that that's not the end of it. And it's a beautiful story. God redeems it. There's some incredible things that happen. What is going on here? News and stuff. But there's this drama that sets off this crazy story of ups and downs and disappointment and frustration. And it all begins with this family drama. And I wonder, on the topic of family drama, how are you doing in the situation, in the season that you find yourself, being forced to spend time with siblings and parents and aunts and uncles and cousins and grandparents and pets and who knows who's around, but you are in a unique time where there's bound to be some tension in the home that you are in.
Hi, my name is Tori. I'm a senior at Eisenhower High School. The topic of family has always been something that's been really personal to me. I know that in the past, and I would say a little bit now, I have not always treated my family the way that I should and the way that I'm expected to. The biggest issue between me and my family, specifically my parents and I, is the lack of communication. And with that lack of communication has brought up some negative behavior and attitude, which I'm not proud of at all. And I know that this is not how families should treat each other and should interact with each other. But something that I've been trying to work towards is seeing them and treating them as equals. And when you see and treat your family as equal, this comes with a lot of respect. And with respect also comes love. And families should treat each other with respect and love with everything that they do. And that is something that I'm really been trying to work towards with my family, is seeing them as equals and giving them respect in everything that we do and they do, and giving most of my love to them. That's something that I've really been trying to work towards, and that's something that's really important to me.
Tori, thank you so much for being courageous and just sharing your story and being open and vulnerable with us all about some of the struggles that you have within the context of your family. And I think many of us can relate to that same tension, that same challenge of kind of the tension between us and the rest of those in our family, where oftentimes it's those who are closest to us that we struggle with the most in relationship. And we're faced with that question, like, what do you do when you don't know what to do? Because so often we let the emotions kind of take over and we end up saying something or doing something that we regret. And so I asked one of our students, and he's going to share with us what he does when he's not sure what to do.
Hi everyone, my name's Jacob. I'm a junior at Athens High School, and Aaron asked me the question, what do I do when things get tough and I don't know how to deal with it? And so oftentimes I'll spend a lot of time outside, whether that's running, biking, hiking, or even just like relaxing outside. And for me personally, just admiring God's creation just relieves all the stress in my life, and whether that's from school or family. And just that uplifting of stress and just not having to worry about any of that just brings an overwhelming sense of peace, and I'm able to connect with God so much more clearly through that. And oftentimes when I'm outside just relaxing, I'll do a lot of writing as well, and just being able to constantly just move the pen and get my thoughts on paper, I'm able to hear from God like so much more clearly than like worship or normal prayer or reading the Bible. And that's just something that works for me. It might not work for everybody, but when I do spend time alone outside, just in nature doing that, I'm able to hear from God so much more clearly, and it just relieves so much stress in my life, and I don't have to really worry about anything going on around me. And just living in that moment, just listening to God, brings so much rest and peace into my life.
Thanks so much, Jacob, for sharing with us and helping us understand, what do you do when you don't know what to do? And I think that's such a great question to be confronted with. What do we do when we don't know what to do? We look at Joseph's life in the book of Genesis, and we see that there was this great tension in that story. There was this great tension with him and his siblings, and it got so bad that they sold him into slavery. I mean, can you imagine? That's absolutely crazy. And then Tori shared a little bit about her story and just some of the tension that happens with her and her home. And I know that all of us can relate to the fact that when we do life with people, especially with our family, right now we're in quarantine and we're cooped up inside and we're hanging out with our siblings and our parents all day long. I mean, there is bound to be tension sometime in somewhere in our week or in our day. And I get that. And I know it's a struggle, but I think the ability to take a pause and ask ourselves the question, what are they thinking? What are they feeling? What are they experiencing right now? Maybe that could help us in navigating the moments that we find the most tension in life. Like, look at this. I'm standing in the middle of chaos, right? And this is what happens when we lose sight of our purpose in life and being able to really truly connect as humans and as being created by a creator who loves creation. This is what happens, and it's chaos, and things have fallen apart, and it ends up being trash. And here's the thing. Oftentimes, the relationships in our families can be a bit chaotic, and they can be explosive, and there can be tension, and there can be fighting. I mean, I remember with my oldest sister and I growing up, we would go blow for blow. I mean, we'd really throw punches at each other. There was a time where I threw an apple at her as hard as I could, and it exploded on her head. For a moment, I thought it broke something in the house, and I was terrified, but then I just realized it was just her head, so it was no big deal, right? But to be able to take a moment and to think, what are the people in my family thinking? What are they going through? I think Paul speaks into this, and this is the passage that I want us to kind of lean in on today. It's in Philippians chapter 2, verse 3 and 4. It says, "Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit, but in humility consider others better than ourselves. each of you should look not only to your own interests, but also to the interests of others. And Paul is asking us to put the chaos back together. He's asking us to engage in a life and in a plan where it begins to take the chaos around us and to begin to put it back into places so it looks harmonious again. What would it look like for us to begin to think of others more often? Maybe putting other people's needs, my mom's needs, my dad's needs, my siblings' needs above my own. What do we do when we don't know what to do? And I think to begin to answer that question, we look at Philippians and we say, what would the world around me look like? How might my life be different if I put others' interests above my own? That's the encouragement that we have for you this week. That's the challenge that we have. May we be a people that begins to take the chaos around us and to put it all back together to this harmonious, beautiful thing, and as it was meant to be. So thanks so much for tuning in. My hope is that you go from here and this only begins a beautiful conversation this week with your crew. So thanks, and we'll catch you this next week. Okay, take 10, everyone. Take 10. Welcome. It's a beautiful day out here, and I don't know why I'm standing in front of a heap of trash. Catch you next week.